Welcome to the deep dive. We take stacks of sources, boil them down, and pull out the really potent, surprising stuff.
And that's the plan.
And today, we are plunging into a massive one. A true American literary epic. It's caused arguments, sparked passion, and hooked millions for, decades now.
That's right. Our focus for this deep dive is Margaret Mitchell's huge novel, Gone with the Wind. We're digging into its legacy, the story itself, which is pretty intricate, and definitely the controversy surrounding it.
For sure.
Our mission really is to give you a clear sense of why this book still gets people talking so much. A solid understanding without getting lost in, all 1,000 pages of it.
Right, sort of the shortcut to knowing why it's such a big deal. Because let's be honest, you might be wondering whether you should even tackle this one.
It's fair. It is famously long.
Exactly. It's got this huge reputation. You've probably heard things. Good, bad, maybe confusing, but stick with us. We promise we'll try and unpack, what all the fuss is about and why the story still hits so hard and maybe why it still makes some people uncomfortable.
Okay, so let's lay the groundwork. Gone with the Wind, it first came out in 1936.
Right.
And boom, huge success. Wins the Pulitzer Prize just the next year, 1937.
Pretty quick.
Very quick. And then, of course, 1939, you get that, iconic blockbuster movie. Vivien Leigh, Clark Gable, unforgettable.
Absolutely. But today, we're really focusing on the book, the source, all those pages, war, love, betrayal, and just sheer grit.
And that's really where the depth is, isn't it, in the book itself? It's set during the American Civil War and Reconstruction, obviously. But it's not just a backdrop. Those times, that history, it shapes everything. Every choice the characters make, everything that happens, it's like you're living through this society just completely falling apart.
And right at the center of that storm is Scarlett O'Hara. Starts off as this rich, pretty spoiled Southern belle.
Definitely spoiled.
Yeah. And then the war just flips her entire world upside down. She's so complex, though, isn't she? Beyond just being vain or selfish, what really defines her for you?
Oh, she's incredibly complex. I mean, yes, she's vain, selfish, manipulative. She lies, she schemes, she marries for money. She even betrays friends. Honestly, a lot of the time, she's not very likable at all.
Right.
And this is the key, I think. Her will to survive is just ferocious, almost brutal. You can't stop watching her. Even when you disapprove, she just refuses to go under.
A survival instinct.
Exactly. And then you've got Rhett Butler. Charming, cynical, sees right through everyone, especially Scarlett.
Her perfect match, in a way.
Or perfect foil, maybe. He's the only one who really challenges her, who isn't afraid of her. Their relationship is, it's intense, passionate, definitely messy.
Kind of toxic.
Absolutely kind of toxic at times.
Yeah.
But you just can't forget it. What do you think makes them so magnetic, even with all that dysfunction?
It's that fire, isn't it? That raw chemistry. They're like two sides of the same coin, almost.
Right.
But beyond just Scarlett and Rhett, Mitchell does something really interesting with the setting.
You mean the South itself?
Yeah, it feels like the South becomes a character in its own right. How does she make its fall feel so personal, so devastating for the people living through it, beyond just the history lesson?
She does it brilliantly. She paints this picture so vivid you can almost touch it, of this world, the plantations, the society at its absolute height, and then just watches it crumble into ash.
Wow.
And it's through specifics, plantations literally burning down, families ripped apart, women who wore silk gowns suddenly scrambling for food.
A total reversal.
Complete reversal. So the fall of the Confederacy, it isn't just some abstract historical event in the novel. It feels incredibly personal, like a death in the family for these characters. Their whole world is just gone.
And with characters like Scarlett and Rhett trying to navigate that chaos, it really throws some powerful human themes into sharp relief. Mitchell weaves them in so well. Maybe the biggest one, the one tied so closely to Scarlett, is just survival, pure and simple. Her whole story is about doing whatever it takes. And that line, you can't forget it. As God is my witness, I'll never be hungry again.
It gives you chills.
It really does. It's more than just drama, right? It's like her declaration of war against being helpless. It forces you to think about moral compromises, about self-interest, when everything else falls away.
Absolutely. And then there's love. Or maybe the illusion of love.
Right. Scarlett spends so much energy, so many years, pining for Ashley Wilkes.
Who never really loves her back. Not the way she wants, anyway. And he could never match her fire.
No. And meanwhile, Rhett, the one person who truly gets her, who matches her strength and maybe her ruthlessness, He's just watching her chase this fantasy.
Yeah.
What hits you about that part?
It's just painful, but so honest. You know, how sometimes your heart just wants the wrong thing or the thing it can't have, and it takes forever to learn that lesson, if you ever do.
Yeah.
And connecting that to the bigger picture, the whole book is just steeped in loss.
Everywhere you look.
Loss of home, family, status, a whole culture, identity, innocence, certainly.
Yeah.
Mitchell really doesn't romanticize the war itself. She shows it just ripping everything apart. Everything. From whole towns down to, the closest human bonds.
Which brings us to something we absolutely have to talk about, the controversy. You can't discuss Gone with the Wind without getting into it. It's undeniably a product of its time.
Yes. And that's actually a key reason why it's still important to engage with, I think. The book contains views that are, well, they're outdated and often deeply offensive, especially around race and slavery.
Can you elaborate on that a bit? What specifically is problematic?
Well, the portrayal of the enslaved black characters is the main issue. It often relies heavily on stereotypes, like the loyal mammy figure.
Right, that trope.
Exactly. And worse, it pushes this false and frankly harmful idea that enslaved people were somehow content or even better off under the plantation system. That's just historically wrong and deeply damaging.
And understandably, many modern readers really struggle with that. It can be hard to get past.
Absolutely. And they should struggle with it.
So when you're reading something like this, how do you personally balance appreciating the powerful storytelling, the literary craft, with acknowledging these really flawed, offensive parts?
It really comes down to reading critically, keeping your eyes wide open to what the text is doing. Part of the book's value, ironically, is as a window into how many white Southerners saw themselves and their history.
Ah.
You can see how that sort of romanticized nostalgia for the lost cause still echoes in parts of our culture today. The book uses these very compelling personal struggles to sort of implicitly justify a certain view of the Old South and its collapse.
So you engage with the story, the writing, but you don't excuse the historical revisionism or the stereotypes.
Exactly. You have to see both. Appreciate the craft without endorsing the problematic ideology woven into it.
Okay, let's shift a bit to Mitchell's writing itself, her actual craft. The prose is it's so rich, isn't it? Immersive, dramatic, kind of poetic sometimes, but not like overly ornate.
No, it pulls you right in. You feel like you're there.
Yeah.
And the characters, they feel so human, raw, complicated, often incredibly frustrating.
Especially Scarlett.
Oh, especially Scarlett. She's truly one of the most fascinating female characters in all of literature, I think. And part of that is because she's not always likable.
Not at all.
Mitchell deliberately makes her strong, selfish, complicated. She doesn't fit neatly into that heroine box at all. She challenges what we expect.
And Rhett, too. He's not your standard romantic lead.
Not even close. He doesn't woo Scarlett in the traditional sense. He confronts her, he mocks her, he challenges her constantly. And then ultimately he walks away.
Which leads us right to that famous last line from him in the movie, though it's slightly different in the book, but the sentiment, frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Such a perfect line. Cold, abrupt, but after everything. Oddly satisfying somehow.
It really is. And you mentioned earlier, for a book this massive, over 1,000 pages, it moves surprisingly fast, doesn't it?
It does. There's always something major happening. A battle, a betrayal, a business scheme, a marriage, a death.
Constant drama.
Constant trauma. You're not just passively reading.
Yeah.
It really feels like you're living Scarlett's whole tumultuous life right along with her.
So wrapping this all up, what's the takeaway for someone listening? Gone with the Wind is a classic for a reason, clearly.
Undeniably.
It's powerful, dramatic, it hits you emotionally, and yes, it's deeply flawed. It shows the best and maybe more often the worst of human nature against this backdrop of a society just collapsing. Love, loss, obsession, and that incredible stubborn will to just keep going.
Yeah, I mean, will you like Scarlett? Probably not consistently, maybe not even at all sometimes.
Likely.
Will you respect her drive, her resilience? I think absolutely. And will you agree with everything in the book? Almost certainly not.
Definitely not.
But should you read it anyway? My take is yes, because important literature isn't always meant to be comfortable. Sometimes its job is to make us think, to make us reflect, maybe wrestle with history and how it's told.
That's a great point. It challenges you.
It does.
So we encourage you listening to think about that. How can a work that is so flawed, so controversial in parts, still offer such profound insights into history, into what it means to survive, and just into how messy and complicated people really are? It's definitely something worth wrestling with long after you finish the book. if you choose to read it.